This is the MLG Spring Championship Kespa Starcraft2 Qualifier Group B. This is going to be the finals between SoO and Trend. Now, my name is Whiplash. I'm casting along with Supernova Maniac, and this is actually quite interesting because we have a well-known player, SoO, from SKT1. He's our blue Zerg in the top left. He's going to be playing against a relatively unknown player, though.
Yeah, his name is Trend. He spawns as Red Protoss on the right bottom position of the map. He is from SamsungCon, and he started playing in the pro scene in 2013.
Yep, so he's a very young player as well, new to the scene. Just, trying to, make some waves in StarCraft2, and this is a great way to get known here. Now, the problem with Trend is that he's a Protoss player on SamsungCon, and they really like to rely on the duo of Johnby and Stork in Pro League, so that's probably why we haven't seen him too much. But with his results here, regardless of win or lose, getting to the qualifiers in a Kespa tournament and beating some good players on the way is no easy feat.
So let's see how Trend is going to do against the Pro League and StarCraft2 veteran SoO from SKT1.
Yeah. Will he set some new trends here of some trendy builds, or are my puns just that bad?
Well, I was about to make a pun for SoO, except I realized there's none.
No. He's so good at StarCraft.
Okay, so we have a spawning point first from SoO right now. After seeing the probe inside the main base, it's suicidal for Zerg players to go for hatchery first. After seeing the probe inside the main base, Trend, but of course seeing this, he knows the timing, he knows he could go for the Nexus first, and that's what he's gonna go for.
Yep. No reason not to. He can do it, he can get away with it. And just mining a little bit of extra minerals there. Not slouching on the job.
Oh yeah, definitely, and he's gonna go for the Forge right after. Also doing a nice job trying to delay the expansion little by little.
Yeah, the expansion is gonna eventually go up, but actually some really impressive micro here by Trend. Gonna have to escape with that probe now, though. It's down to 5 health. One more hit and it will fall. Alright, SoO's getting 4 Zerglings behind this after seeing his opponent's base with this Overlord, I believe as well. And that's gonna he's gonna notice how there's a big choke there, and that the Forge is just about to complete here. So he's gonna try to get in there with some lings if he can.
So this is the wall up that he's going for. Forge is going to end. He's gonna put up a cannon over there between the gateway and the Forge, because there's a little gap where the Zerglings can actually sneak inside.
Yeah.
Now, Trend also needs to be careful, because this also means that there's one hex between the pylon and the gateway, but it's slightly diagonal position, which means that if the probe is not at the perfect position, the Zerglings can go inside the main base before the cannon even finishes.
Yeah. Alright, okay, there we go. Trend's getting the second expansion there.
Alright, puts up a pylon just before the cannon finishes, knowing that the Zerglings were trying to run by into the main base.
Cancels it. I like that, man. It's just safe, solid play. And Trent also, behind this, he does scout the third base underway as well. Like that he's doing that. Everything looking pretty good from Trent so far. He's a very unknown player to us. We've never seen him before, so this is basically our first impressions on him.
Yeah, and I have to say his first impressions right now, just playing really solid. I like this play from Trend. He's not trying to over-risk anything, because some of the newer players, they have the mindset, if they start playing against the players like Flash or Innovation, they tell themselves, well, the only way I can win in this matchup is trying to cheese and trying to catch my opponent off guard. But Trend has the confidence to beat SoO, and he's just trying to play as safe as possible, trying to play a standard game, and trying to prove to SoO and to SamsungCon, hey, I am a fantastic Protoss player from SamsungCon. You should use me more than maybe other players in there, just like Johnby, Stork, or even take a turn. I want to be in Pro League and start fighting for my team.
Yeah. Well, so far so good for Turn, but we've only seen his early game where nothing too crazy can happen here. He is chronoing out 2 Stalkers, though. That's quite interesting. He's going to try to go for a little bit of an aggressive play. And following that up with the Stargate, no Mothership Core in sight yet, though, for Trend. So he's just going to be doing a little bit of damage with 2 Stalkers, and we do have a single Zealot out here as well, which will scare away that Ling. 10 Lings in production from SoO here. He already knows what's happening, and he's going to do his best to defend against this. Also getting a Roach Warren as well behind this, but of course that's pretty standard around this point in the game.
Yeah, so at the very most, Trend is going to lose 1 excuse me, he's going to lose one zone because there's a lot of Zerglings coming out. But can he actually snipe the Queen before the Zealot and the Stalker gets taken out?
Oh, the Zealot gets surrounded a little bit too easily there, I want to say. And now that Stalker's got to be very careful. The Lings, are they going to get a surround there?
I don't know why he was microing the Stalker, because the Stalker and the Zergling have same speed, which means the Stalkers can eventually outrun the Zerglings.
Yeah, and with the second Stalker joining the first there,
okay,
SoO is going to be forced to retreat here. The Overlord, though, going to scout the Stargate, so SoO's going to be pretty happy about seeing that. And we do have the +1 on the way for Trend as well. 5 Roaches in production here. The Zergling speed on the way. Will we see a surround on those Stalkers there?
We're not going to see a surround, but that's up to 7 Roaches right now. You said relatively early Roach Warren, and it was around the standard time, but he's going to apply heavy pressure against his opponent, Trend, today.
Yeah, so we're going to have to see how well Trend will deal with the Roach pressure here.
This might even be an all-in at this point because we have speed coming out in the way. The Overlord has been taken out, so he is supply block, but we don't see a lair from our third player, SoO.
Yeah, that's true. Trend is just, going about his merry business here, playing a very standard opener. I feel almost too standard in the finals here. He should, have some special build prepared or something for his opponent.
Yeah, well, the Phoenixes right now, they're finally going to see the Roaches move down on the field, saying, whoa, what are those Roaches doing at 8 minutes, 30 seconds into the game?
We have continued Ling and Roach production here from SoO. He's going to press forward and try the attack here. There's only 1 cannon and a handful of sentries here for defense. And these units are going to easily be able to focus fire down that cannon. And let's not forget that's a small hole in there. The Zerglings can get through if there's no Zealot there in the hold position. Phoenix is now back to help defend as well, but this is a lot of Zerg army here.
Yeah, this is a lot of Zerg army, but the Zerglings just trying to right play and trying to see if there's a little gap where he can go inside. Takes down the pylon, which is really nice, which means that he can just start eating away on the cannons, and once the force field gets taken out, the Zerglings can go inside the main base relatively easily.
Oh, the +1 is about to complete, but just before it finishes, the Zerglings kill it, and now they're moving into the main base. There's no Nexus cannon available. Probes now running off of the main mineral line, trying to go to the natural, and these 2 additional Stalkers here from Trend, the Zerglings are going to be able to pick them off quite easily. We have a lot of drones being built from SoO behind this as well to kind of reinforce his economy. Now starting to go back to building more attack units, and we have 6 workers killed. SoO has done a pretty nice job at getting ahead in this game here.
Trend did a nice job reading what SoO was trying to do in this game. This wasn't a complete all-in. That was a little bit my fault because he made a lair as soon as he started attacking, and that's the reason why the lair is going to finish right now. What SoO wanted to do is trying to find a little gap in his opponent's play and trying to sink in a lot of Zerglings, even if he lost a lot of Roaches behind. And yes, if the attack doesn't work out, he is going to be far behind because he skipped out on tons of drones to just go for the attack, but he just did a nice job taking out the Forge. And I have to say, Trend, he was trying to make sure that he doesn't overcommit to the wall, knowing that SoO was trying to go for early pressure, but not an all-in.
Trend did end up losing a lot of units as well as some crucial buildings, so SoO is going to be able to maintain an advantage here. He does pick off the proxy pylon as well. And I can't see Trend taking a 3rd base anytime soon here, but that's exactly what he needs to do at this point in the game. This Void Ray going to be really annoying, killing off a few Overlords here and there, but nothing beyond being annoying. The Phoenix as well doing the same thing.
I mean, you just said that it's going to be hard for him to take a 3rd base right now because he lost a lot of probes. That's the reason why getting a Mothership Core early in the game and saving up energy in this particular matchup is sometimes important because you just need a lot of units out to defend against what his opponent has. In fact, because he cannot take a 3rd base right now, he's going to go for the Immortal Sentry all-in.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see him doing anything else at this point. If you're this far behind and you know that taking a 3rd base isn't going to help you out that much, then you should just go for a very, very all-in-ish offensive attack. Because we do have the +1 almost complete now. It's getting back to where it was originally. We have the War Prism moving across the map. That's 3 Immortals and a pretty solid sentry number.
The problem is pure Hydras coming out, not pure Roaches, which means that the Immortals are not going to deal any significant damage against the Hydras that SoO has right now. Yes, it's going to deal some nice damage because, Immortals are quite strong, but it's not ideal for a Protoss player Trend.
And that Queen there actually going to survive. Pretty lucky Queen. SoO, I think he realizes what's going on right now. He's moving forward. The Lings realizes, oh wait, no, do not want to commit into that yet. I need to get all of my units reinforced together. We have 12 Hydras on the way, and SoO, what's his plan going to be here?
Well, that's infinite force fields right there, and what SoO was trying to do is draw out the force fields from the Protoss player, except Trend never took bait. And this is nice force fields, but also a lot of Hydras coming out right now.
Yeah, the Hydra count's pretty impressive, and if we look at it, there's actually nothing to buffer the Hydras from attacking the sentries there. Zerglings now surrounding from the back. We have additional Stalkers reinforcing in, but the damage is being done here, and Trend, his army is slowly falling apart here. The Hydras, the Lings, the creep spread, the location, everything has worked out pretty well for SoO despite the amount of force fields that Trend had.
And the key point is he lost too many sentries in this attack. If you do not lose the sentries, then the third player cannot attack the main army head on, because you never know how many energy is left on the sentry in this particular position. Yes, you want to try to read how much energy is left on the sentry, but let's be realistic. In a game, you're not going to try to see, oh, this sentry has how many force fields, this sentry has how many force fields left over. You're just going to try to see if there is a sentry or not from your opponent.
All right, well, behind this Trend, he's going for the robotics bay. He's getting a mothership core up as well. And additional units being produced here from SoO. Just more Lings, more Hydras, Overseers as well. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him get that Spire Tech up anytime soon as well. No Hydra speed, though, interestingly enough, from SoO. And he didn't end up killing off that proxy pylon in the top right-hand position of the map.
Yeah, that's a little mistake not taking out the pylon, but, you know, you have to give him a little bit of a leeway for the upgrade because he was so focused on getting a lot of units out to defend against the attack.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. And it wasn't in Wings of Liberty either, so sometimes Zerg players will occasionally forget. We have a Zala drop here at the Warp Prism. I do like the Trend's trying to do something like this to get back in the game, but that's already a red shuttle there.
And the bigger problem is, he's doing a nice job trying to harass, but he's just gearing up for another timing attack. And Trend, he needs to either make something happen pretty soon or just take a third base behind this. We have a double Robo out on the way. He's really squeezing a lot of units out from 2 bases right now.
Yeah. All right, we have the Hydra speed upgrade finally on the way here. The Spire going to complete relatively soon as well. The Overseer sees everything, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Corruptors being produced after the Spire finishes instead of the Mutas this time around. The gas count also reflects that. And we have SoO just with a pretty solid army here. It's just a lot of Hydras. He's got some Lings in the back, and he'll eventually be able to have some Corruptors for support as well versus those Colossi.
This one bar is really nice, and it's actually SoO's fault for not taking out the pylon that's hidden over there. But if you look at the bigger picture, all Trend is going for right now is just getting more Phoenixes inside the main, with his main army. He's just trying to get some Colossus out, getting a second Stargate, but we don't see a third base.
Yeah,
coming out from our Protoss player Trend.
He's doing everything that you'd normally do on 3 bases. And there we go, the Nexus has finally been taken, and the Zergling gets scouted just as it starts there. So this is going to give SoO a nice idea of what he wants to do here. We have Phoenixes in production, strangely enough, from Trend. I think he imagines that his opponent is going to be going for the Mutas, but in fact it's going to be Corruptors this game. We also have Roaches being added into the mix here, as well as those Hydras and Zerglings. So overall, it's going to be a pretty solid army from SoO.
In fact, look at the supply count between the 2 players. 199 maxed out army from SoO, while only 121 from Trend. Trend is doing a nice job with the harassment, but the problem is, since he doesn't have the economy, he doesn't have enough minerals to warp Gonzalez inside the main base.
Yeah, he's been able to kill a few units here and there. He's actually equaled out the worker killed number. But SoO, you know, he's had a pretty good advantage for a while now, and he's just riding that throughout the game.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, right now, SoO, all he's trying to do is get maxed out army and trying to base some force fields out with the attack. If he knows that he's in a better position, he could definitely go for the attack and win the game. Corruptors are finally on the field, and they're trying to see where that Colossus is as SoO gears towards the attack at the natural.
SoO, the Colossus out of position there and forcing a mothership cannon down at the natural as well. SoO, he also forces a cancel on the 3rd base, and he's just going to press forward here with this attack towards the Protoss player.
The corruption going down on the Colossus. First Colossus gets taken out, the second one also under fire as Colossus does not get a single shot on those Hydras.
Yep, and Trend, GG is out of there, realizes that he's just too far behind and he won't be able to stop this army.